The records are now open! I love opening my show that way, but I feel so damn silly. I gotta tell you guys, come on in, come on in. This is the way I work. It is lighthearted, it is silly, it is fun, and it is hella expansive. So I'm excited to welcome you guys. My mama is here. Come on in. My name is Emily Harrison. I am not only the founder and director here inside of the Akashic Academy, but my mission is to share the frequency of the Akashic Records with not only clients in one-on-one sessions, but teaching lightworkers how to use and implement this modality, marry it with modalities that they are already using. And one of the very cool ways that I get to show up and share with you guys how this modality works is by doing real live readings right here every Wednesday with you guys on Akashic Answers with Emily. So we're going to be diving into doing some readings soon. Of course, I got to plug a few things first. Guys, this Friday, we have another huge event coming up. Coach Nick and I, who both have backgrounds in the entertainment business, are going to bring you a free training called How to Launch Your Own Online Show That Generates You Income. And this is by far the #1 way to reach a massive audience. And excuse me, I got a little frogger in my throat. Hang on. Let me get my frog out. I've been talking a lot today. By the time I show up on Akashic Answers with Emily, normally this is the 3rd show that I do on Wednesdays, but today it's the 4th show that I've done. So I am in the mode, in gear, ready to rock and roll with you guys today. But I gotta tell you, if you are a light worker, regardless of what your modality is, regardless of what aspect of this metaphysical knowledge that comes through you and how you show up and share it, getting really specific about what your avenue is and how you can impact people, getting clear about this and getting inspired to create your own show is what we want to take you guys through. If you're feeling like, hey, that might be me, I feel a big call on what it is that I'm here to do, Coach Nick and I are here to support you. The members of the Academy, the other hosts of the Academy, the energy healers and teachers that we are aligning with, we are all here in the name of support, expansion, and growth. So if you could use a little bit more of that in your life, do me a favor, participate in the expansion by sharing out right now. Allow somebody else to experience this as well. And just by doing that, you are opening the amount of light that comes into your awareness. Not only are you receiving it, but you are sharing it. You are in reciprocity. You are in energetic balance. So share this out, especially if you enjoy receiving this information. And I'm so excited to dive into the Akashic Records with you guys. Our time goes so fast here. So we're going to dive in really, really quickly. The first things that I want to share with you guys are, obviously this is a short show, so these are mini readings. This is only scratching the surface of the information that is available. So if you find that you're expanded by this and you want to dive in and explore more, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, because there are opportunities to set up a deeper examination and private sessions or packages if what you're experiencing needs a total reset. There are many opportunities to go deeper with all of these issues that we talk about today. Now, the other thing I like to tell you guys is that you can do this too. Everybody has the ability. Now, whether you train that ability, whether you hone those skills, whether you understand how to get clear messages and use the Akashic Records to its fullest, that depends on how much you commit to the path and how much you're willing to open and learn in that space. But every single one of you guys have the components to do in your own energy frequency to do what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. And if you find that that resonates with you and you want to know more, this is no longer energy that has been suppressed or hidden. It's coming to the surface. And you are in the right space to be curious and to expand and to learn. And you will find your way to the right opportunity to grow and expand if you just trust and follow and be open as you are moving along this journey. Now, we are going to do some readings now. If you guys have questions about your life, your career, your health, your love life, your psychic gifts and skills and abilities, Maybe you need some healing in areas where you are experiencing stuckness. I don't know what's going on with y'all. That's why you guys gotta direct a show. If you need extra support, you want to ask a question, please do. Go ahead and start typing questions in right now. And while you guys are all typing your questions in, I want to share with you, I'm going to pick one question, but I trust always when I show up in this space that the question that Spirit leads me to will speak to a huge amount of you guys out there. Okay, so if the energy, if the information, if the message resonates with you, it is for you, regardless of if I said it was for Joe Schmo or not. Okay, if you feel a resonance with it, it is for you. Now, not everybody will have an opportunity to ask an individual question. However, everybody will have the opportunity to receive healing and expansion, because we will bring through a transmission from the Akashic Records to shift whatever the dynamics of that particular issue are, to hold space for expansion. And again, if that's an area of your life where you could use expanding, all you do is say yes to receive that energy. All right, so we are going to dive in now. I am going to use my phone to connect with us here on Facebook so that I can read the comments that are coming in. So keep them coming, keep them coming. While I go find us, while I go find our broadcast. There we are. And there we are. Turn it all the way down. Good fellow Joe Schmo. Sifu knows Joe Schmo as well. Okay, the first question that I see on here is from Deborah Knight. Absolutely, she says, what are my psychic abilities and how can I tap into them? So, that's awesome. Deborah Knight. Deborah Knight, moving into the space of your Akashic Records so that I can get really specific with you. First of all, guys, the aspects of our body or the pieces of ourselves that we use to have expanded psychic senses are our clairsenses. Okay, it's clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, and I missed one. Maybe those are the four main ones. There's also clairgustance and clear olfactoriness, clear smelling. Basically, what these clairs are they are the inner components to our outer physical senses. So we interpret the majority of our physical world with our physical senses. In order to interpret the subtle world or the energetic world, we must use our higher vibrating senses, our subtle senses. Those are our clairsenses, so our clairvoyance. That is our inner seeing, our inner component of being able to either see images, communicate with spirit or any other being for that matter, or heal for that matter, by using visual aspects of our energy. So Deborah, clairvoyance is coming up really, really strong for you. That's the first one that is coming out of my mouth when I'm talking about this here. And spirit is definitely saying this is an area where they want to bring your awareness to where you can expand and even do more work, because you're already doing a lot of work in your imaginative state. I'm pretty sure that's a word I just made up. In the quantum state, you already use your imagination, and when you are manifesting or when you are healing, they're showing me that you can like see visually it playing out, almost like a scene in front of you. So your clairvoyance is a really fine-tuned aspect of your psychic senses. They're really inviting you to begin to work with color, because when we use color and color frequencies and we send just imagine a ray of light. Okay, they're just showing me it's almost like a laser beam of colored light or a colored orb, or however you want to package and transport that energy. Color has vibrational frequency and the ability to unlock, expand, heal, balance, whatever it is. And they're inviting you to start experimenting, and you do that just by following your intuition when you feel like you need to send a little color to yourself or a little color to someone else in your life, someone that you know, someone that you don't know. They want you to start experimenting with that. So I would love to know if that resonates with you. I'm going to check back in and see if you are commenting on if that resonates with you and if you have any Anything to add to that? Let me see if there's anything more coming in for you, Deborah. Dream state is also another thing that's coming in strong for you. So those of us who are clairvoyant or have their clairvoyance up and flowing and pumping, you'll find a lot of times that your dreams can be very active, and that there is a lot of work and training being done on your dream state. So they're asking you to take more control of your own learning during that time and set intentions for what it is that you, where you want to visit, what you want to expand. And when I say where you want to visit, those can be places on the physical earth. What was coming into my awareness was more intergalactic kind of thing. So almost like moving into other dimensions of space and time and learning things from those higher elevated beings. So I would love to know if that resonates with you. And I'm going to, oh, Deborah says, yes, I am. Awesome. All right, so anybody who would like to receive an activation in their clairvoyance, I'm going to go ahead and bring that through from the Akashic Records right now. Here, for those of you guys who are just learning and just coming into these skills, Spirit wants me to bring to your awareness that oftentimes as we are moving from the process of seeing in our inner vision to seeing in our physical world, because there eventually we get to the point where there is that lack of boundary, I should say. When we first, generally speaking, it's not the same for everybody. Generally speaking, when we first start advancing our clairvoyance, we see within our inner mind, and then as we start to become more comfortable and more familiar with the energies, we actually will begin to see more in the physical. You'll begin to see auras, you'll see shadows out of the corner of your eye. And that's really what Spirit wants me to bring your awareness to right now. Because as you begin to develop that ability to see beyond the veils, the dimensional veils, what happens is you'll begin to see dark shadows out of the corner of your eye, and you'll be like, shit, what's that? I just saw that running down my hallway. There's something here. You'll be calling me up. Let me share with you what's going on. Because you see it in your peripheral, because the shape of the eyes are spheres, the sides of the sphere, the eyeball, the way that the light is coming in, maybe it's not the eyeball, it's probably more going right into your iris, they're saying. No, and it's not even the iris, sorry, pupil. You want to just come teach the lesson? They're just making sure I get it right. As the energy comes in the eye like that, the way that the shape of the eye is bends the curvature of the light on the sides of our peripheral, and it allows us to see dimensionally differently than we do out of the front of our eyes. So what you are actually picking up on is the ability to perceive interdimensionally. And it looks like a dark shadow. So we automatically can associate dark shadows with scary, fear, dense beings. But I want you just to hold space for that as that comes online more for you, and recognize that as you train your peripheral, okay, well, this is how we're going to do the activation right now. So if you're driving, don't do this now. Come do it later. I got to be really careful, because while my set is super cute, it is seriously like a house of cards. I touch one thing and the whole thing goes, falls over. So I'm going to stick my hands out, but I don't want to knock anything over. All right, just for the purpose of you guys being able to see both of my hands, here's what I want you to do. I want you to look straight forward and have both of your hands out in front of you, and I want you to move your hands so that they are right in the edge of your peripheral. So there you can't see them, there you can't see them. But stay looking ahead, because we want to train your peripheral vision to be able to pick up on these areas where the dimensional veils are bent and we can see into the dimensions, okay? And I just want you to wiggle your fingers, moving your arms up and down, and with your peripheral eye muscles there, just follow your fingertips. And as you're doing this, one, not only are you strengthening your ability to perceive between the veils of energy, but you're also receiving that activation of your clairvoyance now. Upgrading to whatever level of clarity that we are ready to receive and fully integrate for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. So be it and so it is. Awesome. Alrighty. Now we're going to jump into another question. Okay, I'm drawn to Pippa. Pippa's a new member of the Akashic Academy, and all of a sudden I was like, Pippa, did you get on the show last week and did I answer your question? I can't remember. I seriously can't remember who comes on and who I answer. So sorry if I gave Pippa special treatment, but I always trust that whatever the question is bringing us to information that's going to assist the higher collective. And Pippa, if you ask 2 good questions that you got answers to, well, then that just shows who you are, doesn't it? Boom. We're glad you're here because she's asking big questions. Okay, Pippa says, I understand the records accessing past lives, but surely we have free will and the future changes. So do we access info on the possible future outcomes or the future with it set in stone? Fantastic question. The future is not set in stone. So when we go into the Akashic Records to perceive the future, we are actually perceiving, we have the ability to perceive all possibilities, and the future exists in infinite possibilities. But here's how it tends to work. Based on whatever energy frequency we are emitting at a certain point in time, that's what opens up a particular frequency of future possibilities that we could choose to experience. All right, you may not get the whole spectrum if you're in a really dense energy. You're just going to get a few shitty choices. And you're going to be like, I don't like any of these. You have to expand your energy to get access to more possibilities. But the future exists in infinite possibility. Based on wherever we're resonating, we're sending out a frequency. All of those future possibilities, it's like they go through one layer, they go through one filter, dimensional filter, okay? And they become probable futures based on, because a bunch of them get filtered out. Like if your energy frequency isn't high enough, or if your energy frequency is really high, those dense ones are going to fall off. You don't even have to worry about those. Okay, so you move from the frequency of all possibility to probability, and eventually a certainty as you are experiencing it in the now moment. Now, the certainty of the now moment is really a quite questionable thing too, because I do find that we can also use the Akashic Records to move back into past moments and rewrite the past. When we do that, what we're doing is, in essence, and this is just for our own human understanding. There's probably a lot more shit going on in the quantum realm that I can't really explain to y'all. But in essence, what we're doing is we're rewriting and shifting the matrix of our memory around an association. And memory, when you move into the memory, you are experiencing it in the now moment. So you can actually have a rippled effect quality forward and backward through time by moving into these states and healing them, adding light to them, adding perspective. When I talk about healing, when I talk about ascension, I'm talking about perspective changes. I'm talking about deeper awarenesses that make you go, oh, hey, I never thought about that before. Or I never thought about it that way before. That's expansion. That's stepping into your multidimensional aspect. That is ascension. That is what it looks like. So, in terms of having free will as well, yes, absolutely. And free will is an awesome thing. And as we learn, for me personally, as I'm learning every single day how to use the Akashic Records more powerfully, I'm learning how I can get information from that field that helps me maintain a presence of energy that really truly allows me to exercise my free will. Because let me tell you something, guys, if you are stuck in triggered responses, if you get triggered, you get pissed off, you're not exercising your free will. You're falling back into patterns that got programmed into you based on experience, based on tribal norms, based on past lives, based on the current price of rice in China, you name it, right? So to really fully, I'm glad we're talking about free will, to really fully anchor and step into that free will, you got to have control over your thoughts and your emotions. So let's go into that activation. We kind of, I hope you guys followed me along all of those little lily pads that we took to get from understanding the Akashic Records, past, present, future, to being able to control our thoughts and our emotions. But past, present, future, really, once you merge all of that energy, what do you get? You get a presence of time. And in that present moment is where we really have that choice to control our own frequency, which creates our matrix. All right, so anybody who would like to receive that energy of perfect free will, if you want to experience what perfect free will looks like, that includes freedom and space enough that you can make an enlightened choice about how you feel, about how you choose to respond. We're just working on a lot of this in intuitive development. And this isn't a switch flip, by the way. This isn't a light switch that you flip and then all of a sudden you have master control of your emotions and your thoughts. It's a process. So receive the process, be in acceptance of the process, and allow yourself to be gracefully and beautifully present as each aspect of this unfolds for you. So be it and so it is. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Pippa. Pippa says oh, that's from before. It popped up. Okay. So I'm going to check back in here. We have time for one more. I need to save enough time to do the Akashic Top 3. I didn't do the Akashic Top 3 last week, and that's something that I want to wrap up every show with, and that is the top 3 areas where the Akashic Records want to bring our attention for this next week, to be aware and to be holding space for expansion. So we're going to do one more reading and energy healing, and then we are going to do the Akashic Top 3. Okay. So I am going to scroll all the way back to the beginning and find another question. Okay. Brian Cable says, with the energetic shifts that we are currently going through, a lot's going on with relationships. I'm reading it like I'm trying to do my best reading of the letter, I just realized. Let me just read it normal. Okay. With the energetic shifts that are currently going on, a lot is going on with relationships. A lot of relationships are going through many changes. How long will it take for us to complete this phase? Brian Cable. Brian Cable is a graduate student of mine in learning to read the Akashic Records. So the first thing and Brian already knows this as well, is that time, and I love it that we're talking about time again, because this is going to be one of the Akashic Top 3. So I'm going to tie together nicely for you. When are we going to be through this phase? Now, when we tune into the Akashic Records and we ask time frame questions, guess what? They don't generally give you like oh, you only got 3 more months to go, honey child, and then you'll be fine. It's not like that. And Brian knows it's not like that either. And I know that that's not necessarily the question he was even asking or wanting me to answer in that way. Brian knows that time is flexible and it is a fabric, and it looks more like this. You are done with a particular lesson or a particular transition when the fabric folds in a certain way and certain pieces of the lesson are fully integrated. It's not really even about, I was almost going to say when certain things align, and then it's not about certain things aligning, because that really makes you feel like it's out of your control and you just got to wait for a certain portal to open up so that it can click into gear. It's really about when are you going to fully receive and integrate all the lessons that are there for you in that shift. And yes, so many of us, our frequencies are shifting and changing. Our needs are shifting and changing. Our partners are shifting and changing. A lot of us are going through that. Now, when one person goes through a drastic ascension, that can be really difficult on a relationship. But not all relationships fall apart. Sometimes they do fall apart. How quickly or slowly you move through that transition in your life will depend on how fast you move through the lessons, which depends on how soft you're willing to get, how present you're willing to get, how much forgiveness you can tap into. There are going to, and here's another answer, these shifts and changes are going to continue to happen until all the relationships in your life vibrate to 5D. So if you got relationships that are not vibrating to 5D in the current way that you're entangled with them. Now, just because you might be in a partnership relationship where, like in a marriage or in a cohabitating space, where that dynamic no longer exists and you break up, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, it doesn't actually even mean that your vibrational frequency is really off. What if it meant this? What if it meant you were moving into a space and the other person was moving into a space where the lessons that you needed to learn no longer suited or supported each other, so you were moving into the perfect space to do that? What if you both gracefully gave yourself to move into that space, and then there was still that loving soulmate connection relationship, but it just shifted forms, it just looked different? So yes, many of our relationships are changing. It doesn't mean that they're going fully away. Many of them are just changing forms. Some of them are going fully away. And this will be done when we have fully integrated into a community and have surrounded ourselves with 5D relationships. All right, so I want to send some energy in for any of you guys who are going through relationship shifts in your life right now. Those can be really interesting. Mike and I have been through a lot of times when, you know, one person is shifting and changing or going through something and it tips, and we've actually learned to manage that dynamic and create space for that pretty well in our relationship. But it's not always easy to do, and it's not always advisable. It's not always your soul path or your soul mission or your soul contract, I should say, to work it out with a person in that manner. However, I have honestly, vulnerably, I'll just be truthful, transparent, I've been through major shifts and changes where I just have to fully release and trust and to move into a space of just non-resistance. And I think when you move into that space, you open up access to a lot of possibility, right? Maybe ones that you haven't even considered yet. So sending that transmission through right now for anybody who is moving through relationship shifts. I want to send through the energy of higher perspective so that you can have as much love and compassion and knowledge as you move through this. And I also want to continually invite you guys to hold yourselves accountable. Ask, what is this teaching me about me? Okay? Not bitching about other people. Oh. All right. Thank you so much, Brian Cable, for bringing that through. All right, I got 3 more minutes, so I want to wrap up quickly by doing the Akashic Top 3, and of course, plug Robin McClendon, who is coming up next, right here with Conversations with Gaia. And then Robin continues to hang out with Sifu, and then Sifu hangs out with you guys a little bit more. And then we've got my cutie patootie Jack Coleman coming up after that. I always call him my cutie patootie because he's a cutie patootie. I like Jack Coleman. All right, Akashic Top 3. Here we go. First thing that the Akashic Records wants you all to be aware of when you're moving through this next week is that the construct of linear time and what that means and how it represents itself in our world is really shifting. We're learning, talking about seeing beyond veils, we're learning to see and absorb that in a different way, which is allowing us to manipulate time in a different way. And I shared a story of a way that I slowed down time and kept myself from just really busting my ass as I fell off the curb with my dog the other day. But I was able to go down in slow motion and alter my own physics in a way that caused me not to get hurt, which was really awesome. And this pattern is showing up in a lot of different ways. So I want you guys to be aware any way that time is breaking down for you and any way that this softening of your understanding of time is allowing you to experience a more malleable universe. That is number 1. The second thing, oh, and coming back to free will, by the way, this is not necessarily about your free will. It's about you honoring the free will of other people. So this week, I want everyone to be aware of areas where your own desire or energy might be overriding someone else's free will in your life. When we truly get to a place of peaceful evenness, we allow other people to experience that which is important to them. Okay? So that is the second area where I want you guys to be cognizant over the rest of this week. Where are you hindering somebody else's free will? Okay? And the third thing I want you to simply do is drink more water. I want you to drink 1 more glass of water every single day. Even if you're not drinking any right now, that only means you're drinking 1. I want you to drink water. Water helps conduct energy through our being. And not only do I want you to drink it, I want you to program your water. I want you to program your water with self-love, okay? 1 glass of water every day for yourself because you committed right here on the Akashic Academy. I want you to send love into that water. Namaste, everybody. I'm hanging up from here, and I want you to go hang out with Robin McClendon next. Bye.